games on the Saturday, the 9th of April, starting on at 2:30 p.m. with the mouth-watering tie in France, Catalans Dragons versus St Helens. That's going to be live on BBC One. I don't know if they're sending the team over to France for that, but that'd be interesting. And then that's followed at 5 p.m. by Premier Sports' second game of the weekend, Huddersfield versus Hull FC at 5 p.m. like I said. And then on the Sunday, it's 2:30 p.m. kickoff for Wakefield versus Wigan. That's live on BBC Two. I was really hoping Wigan would be a Saturday game, not a Sunday game. But I'm glad that you've got the trip to France the week before Good Friday.
Yes. I mean, we've got another game to play. We've got to play Catalan away in July. We've got another game in Toulouse in June. So with this one added, we'll have had 4 away games in France in the first half of the season.
Poor you.
Yeah, and I won't have gone to any of them, Mark. So there you go.
But what do you make of that draw? I think we should expect quarterfinals to be interesting, exciting ties. I really hope some sort of ticketing initiative in the next 5 days or so can happen to fill these up a bit more and give them the crowds they deserve. But I think it's really evenly matched games across the board. The only one that maybe on the league table isn't evenly matched is a banging form Wakefield side against Wigan and at home as well. So
yeah, I say it's never much fun going to play up there, is it, Mark? It'll be a tough encounter, that Wigan away at Wakefield. I think, based on what we've seen so far this year, Saints away at Catalan's about as hard a game as we could have got. We obviously did well against Catalan first game of the season. I'd like to think that we'll see them off there, but I don't. We always find it difficult in France, as we've recently shown. So that's as tough as it can get. We're going to have to play very, very well to get through that and into the semi-finals.
Yeah, Catalans looked not in the same frame of being in that game as they've been in other games since that I've seen them play. They've looked a different outfit.
They were playing us, Mark.
Well, also they had a few team changes, didn't they, and things like that in that game. But and they had the Simbini on the first play that didn't help them. That was their own fault, but it didn't help them. No, the red card, wasn't it?
It was a
Simbini, wasn't it? Yeah.
The
red card later on.
Red card later on, yeah.
Yeah, so they didn't help themselves as well in those aspects, did they? But I think we've genuinely got 4 games that are tough to predict, and we'll be waiting to see what sort of injuries and bans come out of this weekend's fixtures to give us a better indication on how those matches might play out.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough round. Should be really exciting actually to watch.
Yes, and we can watch them all, of course. The 1895 Cup as well now has had its draw. Now that the Championship sides are all out of the Challenge Cup, they can arrange that competition. And because there was 5 sides that got through to this stage of the competition, which obviously there was always going to be, the way the draw has had to work for the 1895 Cup is there's a playoff game which happens, I think, next weekend actually. That's been drawn as Sheffield versus Whitehaven, and then the semi-finals will see Leigh play the winner of that match, and Barrow play the Featherstone Rovers. So those games will be played on the same weekend as the Challenge Cup semi-finals, and of course the 1895 Cup final will be at Tottenham Hotspur's ground as the curtain raiser to the Challenge Cup final.
Which in itself is the curtain raiser to the Champions League final. There you go.
I've got no care about that. Do you have a player of the week from this week's Challenge Cup fixtures?
I think I will go with this for 2 weeks on the run. A fantastic performance tonight. Easy thing to do.
Yeah, Mason Lino. Yeah, you broke up a little bit there, but I think you said Mason Lino, which is what I was going to say anyway, and you gave the same reasons why. As I will give is been excellent against Warrington the last 2 weeks. In terms of the predictions, I went 8 from 8, but Lee only went 7 from 8. That's because he picked Leeds, I think, and I picked Cass. I think that was the point of difference that we went with there. But he thought that there might have been a boost and a bounce back, I think, but there just wasn't. But thanks for everyone getting their fan views in on the Google forms. Make sure you look out for the links on next week's game. Get your views in on those and any news stories that pop up during the week that you want to make sure we cover as well. That's the Challenge Cup match reviews done. That's the main part of the show. Seeing off, we're now going to move into other results. Okie dokes, other results. Not so much fan reviews on these, so we'll whip through them fairly fast. It was week 4, I think, of the Women's Challenge Cup group stages. St Helens 88, Army 0, and Warrington 36, Barrow 16 were the Group 1 results. In Group 2, it was Hull FC 0, Leeds 48, and Lee Miners Rangers 6, Huddersfield 46. So all going to form so far. In Group 3, Wigan won 62-0 against Dewsbury Moor, and York beat Bradford 76-4. That one was at Bradford. And then in Group 4, this maybe was a surprise result. The Alton Raidettes 40, Castleford 0. How Castleford have fallen. And Wakefield 0, Featherstone 22. Just going back to Group 3, actually, Wigan and York have played 3 games. They're the only teams that have played 3 games so far in the competition. So both of those can't be caught now at the top of Group 3. So they'll be through to the knockout stages. But in all the other divisions, everyone's only played twice. Although you can guess from how those results that we've gone through have gone, how the teams might qualify. The only one that's got real interest in it, I would say, is Group 4.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, there's been a bit of women's rugby league news as well this week. Do you want to take us through that news story?
Yeah, so head coach Craig Richards has bolstered his England women's performance squad with the additions of Courtney Wingfield-Hill and Caroline Colley. Wingfield-Hill was an integral part of the Leeds Rhinos side, which lifted both the Betfred Women's Challenge Cup and Super League titles in 2019. The halfback going on to be named that season's Woman of Steel, and Colley becomes the first woman from the Betfred Women's Super League South, which was launched in 2021, to be selected for the England performance squad after an impressive season with Bedford Tigers. So well done to them.
I think it's good to see that there's that pathway for those Super League South women here, and that they are getting picked up on and noticed if they are performing. They obviously don't play in the same standard of competition week in, week out that the Northern Super League clubs, the Super League proper as it is, play in. But still, Craig Richards is out there looking and taking in what they're doing, and it should be a real boost for that competition that Caroline Colley has been called up. And then Winfield Hill is by far one of the most experienced players in the group now already, coming in at this stage. So that's an interesting one. Not the Australian playing for England. I don't think we'll see that in the men's side, but if it helps the women win, then, and I think it could, then it's a good move.
Indeed.
In the Championship, there's a game catching up from round 4. Which was missed due to the bad weather that we were having a few weeks ago. It was Workington 6, Halifax 42. It was round 1 of League 1. And on Saturday, London Scholars played Hunslet. It finished 28 points to 10 to Hunslet. On Sunday, Doncaster played Midlands Hurricanes in their first League 1 game under that banner. But they, unfortunately for them, lost after leading early in the game, but they did in the end lose. It was 48 points to 22 Doncaster. Oldham 6, Keighley 32. Oldham were disappointed at that start back in League 1. The game we picked as Game of the Week looks like on the scoreboard like it was Game of the Week in League 1. Rochdale 34, North Wales 36. If Barrow are the entertainers in the Championship, I think North Wales are the entertainers in League One this year. That's what I'm expecting to see. And then finally, the favourites for the competition against the favourites to finish bottom of the competition went the way everyone expected. Swinton 82, West Wales 4. There's one team in League One that didn't play this week, but there is a piece of news about that team, David.
Yes, indeed. So Cornwall have announced the signings of halfback Matty Turton and utility back Chris Chard ahead of the 2022 season. Both players were part of an open age trial the club held earlier this year. 20-year-old Turton was born in Lee and played for Lee Miners as a junior before moving to Cornwall last year. And Chard's a local player, having been born in Truro. He's played rugby league for the Army since 2018.
Does that get them to 17 players?
Not Mark.
It better add, because they play a game next week.
Well, we'll find out then.
Yeah, I think so. They have been drip feeding in recruitment, along the way ever since the start of the year. So
yeah,
hopefully they've got a squad and they can be competitive. In the Wheelchair Super League, Halifax played on Saturday and Sunday this week. They beat Leeds 52 points to 44 in a game that was called off close to the end because of Leeds picking up a couple of injuries in that one. So hopefully nothing too serious for Leeds there, but good win for Halifax. And then they beat Wigan, who'd started the season really well. Wigan had, but 76 points to 64. Fax won that one. So big weekend for Halifax in the Wheelchair Super League. It was round 3 of the NRL. It was Dragons 12, Sharks 36. West Tigers 12, Warriors 16. Rabbitohs 28, Roosters 16. Panthers 38, Knights 20. Dom Young scored again in that one, so he's going well, although on the losing end of things there. Storm 24, Eels 28 in a good win for Paramount. I can't believe NRL Review didn't get in touch with anything on that one, David.
No.
It was the Raiders 24, the Titans 22. Broncos 12, Cowboys 38. Continued strong performance for the Broncos of Herbie Farnworth, but again losing though. Sea Eagles 13, Bulldogs 12 finished the round. And a bit more of a follow-up on the George Burgess news that we reported a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, so George Burgess will be free to continue playing for St George Illawarra Dragons in the NRL despite facing criminal charges. The England international will face court next month after being charged by police for sexual touching another person without consent. Burgess was named in the Dragons' extended squad to face criminal charges last week, but didn't make the matchday 17. The NRL have confirmed the no-fault stand-down policy will not be used on Burgess. He'll be allowed to continue playing whilst legal proceedings run their course.
I think it's probably going to damage any outside chance he had of finding his way into the England setup though this year.
Probably.
In other games as well, we did get something in on one of the Wheelchair Championship fixtures. I think the only Wheelchair Championship fixture this weekend actually. Sheffield Eagles versus Rochdale Hornets. Bruiser664 got in touch to tell us about this because he plays for the Eagles side. He said, Eagles played their closest match of the season, losing 16-30 against Rochdale. Kyron Holt scored all of Rochdale's points, with Eagles getting tries through Stephen Scott, Sean Orton, Bruiser himself, and Will Brooks. Hopefully we can capitalise on this progress next week when we host the Dundee Dragons. So yeah, well done to Sean getting his first competitive try for Sheffield, but hard luck on them not being able to get the first win yet. That is all the other results that we've got stuff on to bring you all. So we're now going to move on to make our guesses for next week in Super League. Right, round 7 of Super League it is, as the Super League returns after the Challenge Cup break. And we start, as we traditionally do, Thursday night, 8 p.m. Sky. It's Wigan versus Hull FC. This is the game we know a little bit more about who might be in and who might not be, as the two teams have named their 21-man squads. So before we do our guesses, Bevan French is set to play for Wigan. Matty Peters confirmed that. He hasn't confirmed where he'll play, but he said he will play. Thornley's back in the 21-man squad after his injury in round 1, and Singleton's back after his ban a couple of weeks ago, but no KPP, obviously. We talked about that unfortunate injury there. Then for Hull FC, Luke Gale's back from his ban, and Evans is back from his ban